and our salvation is in his blood. Jesus, the light of heaven, and friend forever, his kingdom come.
Amen. You may be seated.
Hey, David. Good job. Good job, Chris. Hey, CJ. Adequate. What kind of hobbit was sitting here? Am I supposed to sit at this? All right, Crane. Moving my... There we go. That's better. Good morning. How are you? So good to be back. You know, spent a day away. So I don't know if you know this. I got to run camera last week. And I ran that camera like a champ. I was maybe, I mean, I'm not saying I was the best camera operator, but others have said that about me. So, you know, not saying, but let's just say this. I'm glad to be on this side of the camera and not on the back, because that is stressful. Thank you, everyone doing our tech every week. You guys are the real heroes. So if you're new with us, welcome. If you're streaming with us, I saw Connie and George from Pittsburgh. You're streaming with us. Hi, Connie and George. We miss you back in LaPorte. We've got lots of people that join us online and in person, and we're glad for all of you. People that listen to the podcast during the week. However you connect with our community, we're super grateful. But we do have a couple announcements before we get into today's message. So before I get into this, I'm going to talk about the preschool. Hold on. Oh, there we go. Look at this. So we have preschool signups coming up here soon. Actually, to the public starts in January. But you're a part of this community, so you get some perks, some benefits, not just the coffee you drink in the morning, but if you have a preschooler or a kid, a child, going into preschool, that means they're going to turn 3 before when, Kathy? August 1st, and you want them to spend a lot of time with Miss Kathy and some time with Mr. Roger, then you can sign up your child for preschool next year now. Now, you're probably like me in saying, hey, it's pretty early to sign up for preschool. That's what you think until you're the parent in May going, I didn't know I was supposed to sign up already. What do I do with my child? Are they going to be dumb? I don't know. So what we're doing for you is if you come here, if you're a part of this community, you can sign up between now and January 1st. Well, you can sign up even after January 1st. But now January 1st is just for people here at State Street to sign up, okay? So if you want to sign up, go to Miss Kathy. Miss Kathy, raise your hand. Higher. That's Miss Kathy, the world's best preschool teacher. And come to talk to her, and she will get you all the sign-up stuff. Miss Kathy, will you be at the sign-up counter or the... Okay. If you need her, you come find her, all right? Just yell, there's a child that's fallen, and Kathy will come. Go find her and sign up. If you want, just send us a message. We'll get you all the information. If you want a tour of preschool, Miss Kathy would be glad to give it to you during the week. All that information. I will tell you this. We do fill up very quickly. I forget, when was it last year that we had filled up by? January 2nd, and we open on January 1st. So, I'm telling you now, if you want to be in the preschool, sign up now. Also, discussion over dinner is coming up this Thursday. And you're like, Nate, I thought we'd do that on Fridays. Hey, throwing a little bit of a wrench at you. We're going to do it Thursday, and we're not doing it here. We're going to do it at the Lebesnick Center for the Arts in Michigan City. And it's our first time partnering with another organization for discussion over dinner. And we're very excited about taking it on the road. And we would love for you to join us. Now, it'll be very similar to our regular discussion over dinner, other than we're having desserts, not dinner. and it's not going to be here. We're going to be talking about immigration, things like that. We've got a great panel. If you were at our criminal justice panel, you heard from Nelson Picardo. He's on our panel there, or on our panel again. And we've got an artist on our panel. At the Lebesnick Center right now, I actually got a chance to go view it this week, is a fantastic display of art, primarily done, I think mostly done, by immigrant artists, but also influenced and inspired by the immigration story in America. So it should be a lot of fun. Should be informative. We hope you can come Thursday, 5:30 to 7:30. Am I right, Michelle? Yeah. 5:30 to 7:30 Thursday at Lebesnick Center. Now, you're probably wondering, Lebesnick Center for Arts, that's an art museum. I probably have to wear a suit and tie. They don't, do they? No, I'm not wearing a suit and tie. So if you come wearing a suit and tie and I'm the only one that's not, I'll be so mad because I've been that guy and I hate it. Like, oh, nobody told me this is like a formal thing. I'm going to stand in the background and pretend like I'm part of the staff. Okay. Finally, lots of stuff going on. December 3rd, the PAC Center is Giving Tuesday. It's our one large fundraiser a year, and we need everyone. Whether it's, you can contribute $5 or $5,000, it doesn't matter. Everyone participating makes a big difference. And here's the fun thing about our PAC Center's Giving Tuesday drive. Everything you give that day obviously goes towards the PAC Center, right? It doesn't go towards the church. It goes towards the PAC Center. And it goes towards our budget there. And it goes towards helping people have food, helping people have access to nutritious food. You might not know this, but we spend $100,000 a year just in groceries for our food pantry. And so every dollar we raise goes to helping people have that access. And then our community gardens that our volunteers here do such a great job running. We love to do that for free for people, teaching them how to garden, giving them plants and things like that, making that space very nice. And so the way we do that is we raise funds for it, and we do it in one big day. Now, what do I need from you? I need you to participate, obviously. We covet your prayers in this, so that it would be a great day. We had a $50,000 day last year. I'd love to beat that, but we certainly need a lot of people participating to make that happen. If you have a business that you'd like me to talk to, I would love to do that, or contact, or send an email to, or introduce myself. I would love to do that. Also, on the day of on the day of Giving Tuesday, you can set up a Facebook fundraiser as well, and have your friends participate. Set a goal and see if they'll participate, and we'll see how much we can raise. I would love to raise more than we did last year. It's a big goal. If you want to start sharing that information now and putting it on your Facebook, you can go to thepaccenter.com/Giving Tuesday, or just go to the PAC Center's Facebook page and find all the information there. So put that in your calendar and hopefully pray about participating in it with us. Today, we're going to talk again about gratitude. But we're going to talk about debt and duty as a form of looking at gratitude, and hopefully maybe pivoting out of that idea of gratitude just being a repayment for a debt. How many of you, since it's getting closer to the holidays, how many of you, either yourself or your family member, on Christmas morning, you are that family that shares the gifts and then one person has to open at a time? Does anybody do that? Oh, does anybody not love that? Yes, I don't love it. I'm going to tell you that, all right? I do love presents, right? I'm not a monster. I don't love it because you know why I don't love it? I don't know how to respond when somebody gives me compliments or gives me a present. I'm genuinely happy, but I have a face that permanently says I'm not. And there's nothing I can do about it. And then you couple that with people are staring at you and wanting you to respond in such a way that indicates you're very grateful. You're very happy for this thing you just received. Now, I'm pretty good at faking it with my children and saying, oh, this is the best thing ever. It's not always. But when people give me things and they're like, hey, this is you, I typically wait to open it when I'm not around somebody because I don't want them to be disappointed in how I demonstrate my satisfaction for the thing that they gave me. I know in the past I've hurt people's feelings by not seeming excited enough. And I will tell you this, when I try to seem excited, I seem like a psycho. Like I am so excited, thank you. And I don't know what to do. I don't know how to respond. I'm like permanently smiling, and you're like, this is really creepy. Because I don't know what to do when people give me compliments, when they give me a present, when they give me things. I don't know what to do. Because I'm truly grateful on the inside, but I don't always know how to demonstrate that in a way that the giver is content with. Because that's the goal, right? The goal is not just to receive a gift. The goal is then to take that gift and to give it back in gratitude. Sufficient enough for that person to feel that their gift was not wasted. That, okay, I've received it. You see that I'm happy. I've told you I'm super happy. I've told you it was the thing I really wanted. I told you, no, I didn't want that other thing. This is the thing I wanted. I'm really grateful. I'll never want anything again. And then they move on to the next person. Thank God. I don't know how to respond. Maybe you can teach me. I never know if my response is sufficient. Today we're going to talk about debt and duty gratitude. Right? If someone gives you a gift, you must return the favor. Debt and duty. Now it might be in the way you express gratitude, but even more so, is somebody gives you a something, they expect that something in return. Some of you don't like to help your friends because you're afraid you're going to, you don't like to ask for help from your friends because you're afraid they're going to ask you for help later, right? You need help moving something. You're like, I could ask that person, but they're the type that would probably ask me to do the same thing. I'm not going to do that, right? I don't know. How many people here, you have an invitation to dinner with someone, and then you feel this debt to reciprocate, right? Okay, they invited us over to their house. Now we've got to do the same thing, but we've got no time. And then you feel this debt and this burden weighing because you're like, okay, I have not reciprocated the kindness. And now I'm under this debt. Now you might not say it's a debt, but you feel it's a debt. You owe it to that person to do the same thing. You have a duty to them to return the favor. Because they've given you something, and now you must return the favor. Have any of you that have kids, you might know this, have you went to birthday parties before, or you've had a birthday party for your child, and you received something from a parent or a child, but certain the child didn't pay for it, but the parent paid for it. You're like, that's a $50 thing. I don't even know these people well. And my son got invited to their birthday party. I'm going to have to match that. I don't even like that kid that much. He's kind of snotty. I have to spend more money on him than I did on my kid. What am I going to do here? Because they bought this really great thing. Because I have a debt now and a duty to repay it. You gave this to me. Now I need to do it likewise. I need to give it back to you. Right? Nobody wants to be the person that, somebody spends this amount on you, and then, you spend like a fraction back, and you exchange gifts, and they're like, oh, I got you this iPhone. And you're like, oh, I had this $5 gift card to Starbucks that I regifted. Merry Christmas. Right? Nobody wants to be that person. Nobody wants to be the person that doesn't return the debt, that doesn't feel, right? How many people have been a part of a gift exchange, maybe at work or something, and the question becomes, what's the spending limit? Because you all, right, you all want to return the debt to you. You're going to be given it something. You want to return it. You have a duty to return it in kind. Nobody wants to be that person. There's a great, have you seen the Office episode? There's a new podcast with Angela Kinsey and the girl that plays Pam. I can't remember her name. But they're going through episode by episode talking about The Office. It's just, I love it. But there's a great Office scene where Michael Scott gives this gift. I think it's like an iPod. And everyone else doesn't barely give that. But they're doing this gift exchange, right, where you can actually pick. The next person in line gets to pick the other person if they want it. And that's the thing. Michael Scott gets mad because he gave the great gift, and nobody else, gave a great gift. But it was an Office exchange thing. Nobody thought that duty would be there, that there would be that great of a debt. So they didn't know what to do. Debt and duty, gratitude. Somebody gave you something. Somebody did a favor for you. And now you feel this duty, this debt, to repay it in kind. Just accepting it as a gift just seems like you can't do that. You need to repay it. You need to make sure that's kind of off your conscience, that somebody did something to you kindly and you need to do it back to them. Nobody that I know, anybody anyway, wants to be perceived as like this socially incompetent ingrate, right? That they're just unkind, that they receive and receive and receive and never give back. Now, I know people that might kind of be like that. They just don't know it. But nobody wants to be that person. So today we're going to be talking about transformative gratitude versus feelings of indebtedness. So the way this goes is, typically anyway, there's a benefactor, right? You have something. You own something. You possess something. It could be a virtue, kindness. It could be your skills. It could be your time. It could be your money. You give that thing, and then there's a beneficiary. Maybe you're the beneficiary. Maybe you're the benefactor. But you give it, or so you receive it, and then the expectation is gratitude, right? We have this with our kids. You gave them a gift. They didn't get that excited. They didn't show gratitude. And the circle was broke, and now you're upset. I get upset. Same thing with friends, right? You helped them move, and now it's your turn to move. You were the benefactor. They were the beneficiary. How are they? They said thanks, but really to demonstrate gratitude, they should help me move. Why aren't they helping me move? Or you gave money once, and when it was time for you in need, other people that you gave money to or other organizations weren't there to help. And this circle was broke. This socially responsible, socially connected, socially understood circle between benefactor, gifts, beneficiary, and gratitude. This is a debt and duty gratitude. So we're going to talk about 3 Latin phrases today. You've heard one of them quite a bit lately. Quid pro quo, which literally means this for that. I did this, now I expect that. I did this, now there's an understanding that you do that. This quid pro quo, right? This for that. Then there's pro bono. You hear this sometimes with lawyers, right? Work for pro bono, work for free, it's for good, right? That's literally what the phrase means, for good. But pro bono is really more than just for good. It's for the sake of the greater good, that phrase is. And then flux capacitor. That's not true. That's not a Latin phrase. Okay, 2 Latin phrases. How many of you really thought flux capacitor was a Latin phrase? It sounds like it, doesn't it? It's not. I got you. Quid pro quo, a this for that exchange, or a pro bono exchange. You're doing it just for good. A quid pro quo is you did this and you expect this. Even if it's not necessarily agreed upon, there's an expectation, this for that. You did this good thing. Now you have an understanding, maybe it's just kind of a culturally normative understanding that you gave a gift, they received the gift. the way to receive it in gratitude is to go and do it the same when you're in need. It's a quid pro quo kind of understanding. I did this for that. And you say, well, I mean, I really did it out of the kindness of my heart, except you're upset that they don't do the same thing. So you didn't necessarily do it out of the kindness of your heart because you're upset. Pro bono is for good, right? But really it's more for the common good. You did it because it's the right thing to do. You did it because it's the good thing to do for everyone, for you, for others. And the way we look at giving, the way we look at gratitude kind of straddles both of these ideas, a quid pro quo understanding of this for that. And I think some of us live within this understanding of doing things, of action. We do our things, we do our actions, and sometimes we look at God this way. Hey, I've given to the church. I've given to things in need. I've helped those who struggle. I've said my prayers. I've attended church. I expect then to live in the age to come. I have a this for that understanding with God. I did these things. Now I'm expecting this in return. Some of us do it, and we won't say it this way because we've learned not to say it this way, but we do it because we're trying with all of our might, with all of our energy to earn the favor and love of God. I'm doing this for that. I'm defending you, God. I'm doing all these things. Why? Because I'm hoping to earn your favor. Some of us do it because we just want God to know that there's other people worse than us. Hey, look at me. Huh? We're like that child of ours, right? That reminds us that the other child's doing the wrong thing. Hey, Dad, look at Harry. What's Harry doing? Just look. Why? Just look at him. Right? It's not because it's like a pro bono observation for the greater good. Right? That's not why you're pointing out Harrison's problems. It's a this for that. Right? It's a, hey, I'm the one that brought this to you. Look at Harry. Look at that kid. Cleaning the walls with oil. Permanently stained our wallpaper. What a helpful boy he is. This for that. So, we're going to get into the scriptures and how quid pro quo was and it still is a very powerful and maybe even expected societal understanding of favor, right? So in the Roman social structure, we've looked at this before, you had a hierarchy. And maybe in a democratic republic, it can be harder to understand, but I think hierarchy is not too hard for us to understand. Many of us live in corporate hierarchies. Maybe some of us live in hierarchies at home. But in the Roman social structure, there was a clear hierarchy, and there wasn't an attempt to hide it. There was a hierarchy that was celebrated, but was also enforced. So you had at the top Caesar, and maybe you can even say some of his family. Then you had senators, then equestrians, and you had aristocrats and magistrates, merchants, soldiers, and artisans, manual laborers, freed slaves, then slaves at the bottom. And typically, you tried to make peace with the part of the hierarchy that you lived in. You didn't often get to go up it because to go up the hierarchy took social status, and social status took money. And oftentimes money required land. But who owned the land? Caesar. The government. So it was hard to work up the social structure. So the best you could do was to make your peace with the place that you were. Now, maybe you were a slave and you paid off your debt and you became a free slave, right? But you didn't really usually go from a slave to a senator. That didn't happen. Now, the way they also viewed the best way for society to work is that everything works down. The Caesar gives to the Senate, and the Senate gives to the equestrians, and the equestrians give to the aristocrats and magistrates, and they give to them. And then everyone at the bottom says is grateful for the people right above them who help them, who help them, who help them, who help them, all the way to the top. So it comes from the top, good things, and it filters through the bottom. And what you have to give then is your gratitude going up back to the top. Everything you have is a gift from Caesar, from Rome. Now, you might not have much, but you have that. Do you know what you also have? You have protection. You're a citizen of Rome. You can walk almost anywhere in the known world and tell them you're a citizen of Rome and nobody will mess with you. That's a gift Caesar gave to you. You know what? You have food. Now, you might not have a lot of money, but there is food for you to buy. There are other cultures that are struggling with having food to buy. They don't even have the means to make the food. You have food available to you. You know who did that? Caesar did. So be grateful. You might not have much, but what you have was a gift given to you by Caesar. And you now have a duty to repay your gratitude. And how do you do that? In taxes, right? In taxes. In paying Caesar what you owe him for the gifts that you've received. You now have a debt to Caesar and a duty to pay him. A debt and a duty. Because you are a citizen of Rome. Now, your life might not be great, but you are a citizen of Rome. You're welcome. You now have a debt. And your duty is to pay that debt in taxes. And being a good citizen, but primarily taxes. We'll forgive not being a great citizen if you pay your taxes. Now, we're going to look at a story of a chief tax collector. Okay? Now, a chief tax collector is one of the only people that can work their way up the social ladder. One of the only people. How? Because they can get money. If you get money, you can work your way up the social ladder, right? I mean, it's not all that different in our own society. Those who have a little bit of money often, right, have more influence from those that don't. And if you have a lot of money, I don't know if you heard this, this morning it broke that Bill Gates officially now has more money than Jeff Bezos. Which, if I've done the math correctly, is more than all of us. I mean, I don't know all of your net worth, but I think it's more than all of us. But he officially beat him. Do you think Bill Gates gets invited to be in some rooms because he's really good looking? I mean, no. He's got a lot of money. I like Bill Gates, actually. I think he does a lot of good with this money. But money has bought him a lot of influence. You know what? Bill Gates admits it. Money can buy you influence. It can buy you status. It can buy you things. And so, being a chief tax collector means that you get to make money. Because here's the thing. I go over here and I say, hey, you guys, your taxes is 4, but you owe me 5. And I'm gonna keep 1, and I'm gonna give to Caesar 4 of them. But if you want me to tell Caesar that you've paid, you owe me 5. Or, better yet, you owe Caesar 3, and I'm going to tell you 6. I'm going to keep 3 of it. Because you have no way to, petition the IRS. Right? You need to pay your chief tax collector. And if you don't, you're going to move down that ladder pretty quickly. And if you do, you get to stay where you're at. But the chief tax collector gets to move up and move up and move up. Because they acquire more and more and more money, And as they acquire more money, they get more and more influence. But you know what? There's a price. Because who doesn't like the chief tax collector? Anybody under him. Anybody below. Because they know that the chief tax collector got to where they're at. Not by being a great person, but by exploiting and manipulating the system. It's an understood system. It's an allowed system. Caesar doesn't ban it. But that's how they did it. So we're going to read a story today about a chief tax collector. And how Jesus interacts and engages this chief tax collector. So, too often we've read this story through a Sunday school lens, and we've not really read this story through the appropriate cultural lens that I think it tells itself. So, Luke 19, Jesus entered Jericho and was passing through it. A man was there named Zacchaeus. He was a chief tax collector, and he was rich. He was the chief tax collector. And he was rich. He was the chief tax collector of all of Jericho. He was trying to see who Jesus was. But on account of the crowd, he could not. Because he was short in stature. And our songs call him a what? A wee little man. I'm sure he loves being remembered as that. Like, I'm 5'5", okay? I was just a little shorter than the crowd, that's all. He was short in stature, so he ran ahead and climbed a sycamore tree to see him because he was going to pass that way. So a little bit about Zacchaeus. Zacchaeus was a Jewish man who became the chief tax collector of Jericho. Now, Rome would often, because Rome was conquering lands, they were spreading out. You can't just send all of your people to these foreign lands. So what you would do is you would find a cohort of people in those foreign lands that would swear fealty to you, right? That you could get them to do your bidding. And Zacchaeus would have been one of these. He would have made an agreement with Rome. I'll be your chief tax collector. And they would have made that agreement with him. Great. We need one of those. And he became this guy that collected everyone's money. And he became very, very rich by doing it. Right? Very, very rich. So you see at the bottom, maybe he started as a manual laborer even. Maybe he was a merchant. Maybe, he was one of those. But by starting here, he slowly started moving his way up. And the more money he had, the more social currency he had, the more social structure he had. But have you noticed that sometimes those in power, whether it's politics or money, get more fearful the more power and prestige and influence they get because they're afraid to lose it? What they do then is they don't lead in ways that give. They lead in ways that protect their possessions, their things, their stuff. So Zacchaeus was a very rich man. He was a Jewish man. And he became who he was by using the system, by collaborating with Roman authorities. Now, you would say, oh, he's just collaborating with the government, but he's collaborating in a government in a culture that didn't love the government. The Romans, who were viewed as kind of invaders, really, in that area. And the Romans would offer political positions to people like him, local inhabitants. And his position as a tax collector was to make sure the system of patronage, the system of debt and duty was operating and thriving. Caesar gave you this, now you owe him that. Zacchaeus' life was wealth and working up the ladder, going above people. So he gets there. And he sees Jesus coming. He wants to see this. And it doesn't tell you really necessarily at that point why, but he's curious. Maybe he's tired of the system that he's living in. Maybe he's exhausted by it. Maybe he feels threatened by it. Obviously, Jesus threatened those in power, right? Over and over again, we see Jesus threatening those in power because they can't control or manipulate him or his followers. He's curious. Maybe something's calling him home. I feel like there's something about when I'm hearing about this Jesus who continues to give, who continues to heal, who continues to feed the hungry. I want to know more about him. How many times have you known somebody that seemed to have it all, but they felt empty and dead inside? It wasn't a problem of making more money. It wasn't a problem of having more influence. It was a problem of feeling contented in life. So it goes on to say, when Jesus came to the place where Zacchaeus was in the sycamore tree, he looked up and said to him, "Zacchaeus, hurry and come down, for I must stay at your house today." Now, again, this social structure of Rome meant that the only thing you tell the people above you is that you're grateful for them. You don't get to dictate to people above you what you want them to do. You don't get to go to Caesar and say, "Okay, I've got some ideas for you on how you should rule Rome." Nope. You don't get to go to a senator and write your senator about the thing you wish they would do better. You don't get to do that. That's not acceptable. It's not how Roman systems worked. There was a hierarchy. You don't talk to the ones above you. You do not request. You do not get to tell them things. They tell you what to do. You give them your gratitude. So Jesus looks up at the chief tax collector and breaks social norms. You don't tell the chief tax collector what to do. He is an official of Rome. Jesus was a rabbi. You're breaking social norms. Zacchaeus, come down from where you're at. The church fathers, I love how they interpret these texts, because we often just interpret them literally, but they interpret it theologically, right? Which is, I think, a better way to read the scriptures, because Zacchaeus was rising and rising and rising, looking down on people, looking down on the world. And Jesus invites him to come join it again. Get down here. We're your equals. Where you look me in the eyes, and I look you in the eyes. Where the people below you don't owe you anything. You look at someone as an equal. And Zacchaeus yells down, "You don't get to tell me that." No. As is the case with people who have incredible interactions, transformative interactions with love and grace, and engage Jesus, he hurries down and was happy to welcome him. All who saw it began to grumble and say, "He has gone to be the guest of one who is a sinner." Because not only is Zacchaeus breaking a Roman social norm, Jesus is breaking a religious social norm. Zacchaeus, as a Roman official, should not listen to somebody on the bottom rung. Jesus, as a rabbi, should not eat with a sinner. Yet here they are. Have you found yourself in that situation? Yeah, I know what the rules are, yet life is hard. Here we are. You wish other people would understand that, but they don't. And they grumble. Can't believe you. Jesus, he just took advantage of those people. You can't do this. You can't go there. You can't eat with him, because if you eat with him, you are telling him that he is an equal. Religiously equal, culturally equal, spiritually equal. You can't do that. You can't dine with sinners. He is not pure. He is not right. He is unjust. He has made his money by exploiting and manipulating the system. Don't do it. Yet, Jesus doesn't give in. Zacchaeus stood there and says to the Lord, look, half of my possessions, Lord, I will give to the poor. If I've defrauded anyone of anything, which I think he's being a little bit hyperbolic here, right? If I have defrauded anybody, yeah, you have, I will pay back 4 times as much. Essentially, Zacchaeus is saying, I'm gonna give everything I have away. I'm going to bankrupt myself. I'm going to come down from the pyramid of achieving, of doing, of accomplishing, and all these things of where the hierarchy says that those under me have me to thank, those above me, I need to thank them. A quid pro quo kind of understanding of society, and come down to the level of Jesus and meet him there, where the last will be first, the weak will be made strong. Zacchaeus, this story is a critique, right, about the way things are in the kingdom of Rome versus the way things are in the kingdom of God. Then Jesus said to him, today, salvation, rescue has come to this house, because he too is a son of Abraham. For the Son of Man came to seek out and to save the lost. See, Zacchaeus understood that the way he was accomplishing, the way he was achieving, was in this quid pro quo relationship with the world around him. I give you this. Rome gives you this. Now you give them that. Jesus wasn't offering him that. He wasn't. He wasn't saying, come down here and bend the knee. He was saying, come down here. Let us recline at the table as equals and listen and learn and hear about love, about forgiveness, about grace. See, it's a different way of looking at gratitude. There's this understanding of quid pro quo. You do this, now you have a debt and a duty to this person. Or somebody's done this and you receive it. And the natural response is gratitude, gratefulness. Not because you owe them a debt, but because you recognize that it's a gift. We go to weddings. And when we go as guests to weddings, we'll give something to the couple and things like that. And I try to make it very clear that they don't owe us a card. I remember what it was like after our wedding, and you're going back to normal, and you have to write like 100 cards to people and remember what they got you, because you had to write it down when you opened it, and then seem really grateful for the blender. And you are, but, again, not great at receiving. And what do you say? That blender is going to change our life. I always tell people, you don't have to send us a card. I'm not expecting it. It won't offend me. It will not hurt my feelings if I do not see a card from you after your wedding. It's okay. It doesn't bother me. Why? Because we didn't give you a gift to have you spend your time writing a thank you. Now, it's nice. I don't mind getting cards. Don't hear me wrong. But that's not the expectation. That's not the expectation for me. I'm giving you something. All I want is you to receive it. It's pro bono. It's for the good. It's for your good. It's not based on any other thing. I'm not getting anything out of this. I don't want anything out of this. I want to give you a gift. That's it. You don't have to say thank you. You don't have to send me a card. You don't have to, send me a text, tell me about how great it is of the gift card you got to go out to dinner. It's okay. You don't have to pretend like it's great. But just receive it. That's it. Here, it's for you. I'm not going to think anything more about it. It's for you. We wanted to give this to you. See, there's a different way to look at gifts and receiving things. Jesus, right? Jesus invites Zacchaeus to come down. He's not inviting him to be in this relationship of quid pro quo, like Caesar or like Zacchaeus has defended and made his money off of. Hey, Rome's giving you this, now you owe them this. Jesus invites them down. Right? Jesus' love is a gift given to be received. Come down from there. Come down from the thing that you're climbing to achieve. Get down here and receive a gift. Receive it. Not because you owe it, not because now you're indebted for it, but because it's who God is. And when we receive gifts like this, our natural response then ought to be gratitude. Not because we owe a debt, but because we're grateful to be receivers. Jesus' love is a great gift to be received, not a debt to be owed. Getting something be given to you and expecting nothing in return. You know, in Latin, the word for gratitude and grace comes from the same root. Gratitude and grace comes from the same root word. Gratitude is a way of acknowledging that you've experienced grace. It's all encompassed, that you received this unmerited favor. You've received this unmerited thing, this gift, and you owe no debt for it. You received it because of somebody else's desire to give, not because they wanted you to owe it to them. And if they did, it was a gift with attachment, and not really a gift. It was a contract. See, this thing, this faith, this religion, this thing that we're all dedicating our lives to, living the ways of Jesus, this is an opportunity for humanity to discover that God is giving gifts to be received. Not in this relationship where you receive it, now you have to do this. No, you receive it, and based on the incredible gift, you have an opportunity to see the world in such a way that you want to forgive. You want to show grace. You want to demonstrate mercy. Because that's how radical the gift of God's love is. God is giving gifts to be received. Every day. Every day you receive a gift to be received. But you might, like me, have to challenge the ways you receive things. Do you feel the need to repay every favor done for you? Is that your impulse? This need to repay? Okay, somebody did something for you. Now you feel this debt that you owe that to them. It will impact the way you view God. Because then the way you view God is God's love is a debt to be repaid and not a gift of grace to be received. Do you feel the need to earn people's favor and love? That if you only do this for them, if you only get this thing done, if you only return this thing, then finally they'll love you? Or do you feel the need to point out everyone else's flaws in hopes that God will love you instead? Have you seen Harry? See, the challenge for all of us, whether you're new to the faith, whether you're exploring this, or you've been here a while, is to wake up to seeing God being a part of our human experience with us, giving us gifts, not expecting anything in return, but as people receiving gifts, wanting to receive it well, wanting to respond in gratitude. Not because it's a debt to be paid, but in recognition of the incredible gift we've received. We are the receivers of God's good gift of love. So how will we respond? Like it's a debt to be repaid? Or in a reflection of that love to the world? Is it time to come down from where you're perched, looking down at others, to receive the love of God given to you pro bono, for the good of you, for the good of the world? Is it time to think about how you receive things Because you can't really give things well unless you know how to receive them. It's hard to give something you've never been fully willing to receive yourself. If you're not willing to receive God's love and grace, unmerited, unburdened by a requirement, then it'll be hard for you to discover that love and to show it forward. So we're going to enter into a time of Eucharist where we give thanks for the good and gracious gift that is Jesus. And we ask you to come to the tables with us if you want to receive the Eucharist. But we do this with open hearts and open minds, and ask for God to forgive us. Forgive the ways in which we chose the path of hate over love, where we decided that our relationship with others and with the world and with God is quid pro quo instead of this pro bono, for the good, for the common good of us and for the common good of this world. We give gifts and we receive gifts. Not as people indebting the world, expecting to be repaid, but as people that have been forgiven. And forgive the debts, perceived or otherwise, of those around us. So will you pray with me? Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also have forgiven our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. The tables of Christ are open.
Hold the reins on the sun and the moon, like horses driven by kings. You cover the mountains, the valleys below, with the breath of your mighty wing. All treasures of wisdom and things to be known are hidden inside your hand. And in this fortunate turn of events, you ask me to be your friend. You ask me to be your friend. And you are my first, and you are my last. You are my future and my past. And you are my first, and you are my last. You are my future.
Are swimming inside the breath of your desire. Where could I run? Where could I hide from your heart's jealous fire? All treasures of wisdom and things to be known are hidden inside your hand. And in this fortunate turn of events, you ask me to be your friend. You ask me to be your friend. And you are my bird.
are my first, and you are my last. You are my future and my past. God, in you are my first, and you are my last. You are my future and my past. And you are my first, and you are my last. You are my future and my past.
All right, will you please stand before we dismiss? A couple quick things. Hey, if you signed up to cook a turkey for Thanksgiving Eve, please know that next Sunday you can pick them up here at church and then bring them back, obviously, that Wednesday for Thanksgiving Eve, that following Wednesday. Also, we still need people to sign up to help to serve, clean up, all be a part of that day. And we need people to help cook desserts. So if you'd like to do that, or if you can do that, if you can't be there that day but want to still help cook a dessert, that's fine. Or bake a dessert, that's fine too. You don't have to stay for that to do that. But the more help, the merrier. So also, we're not going to be passing a plate for offering, though we do believe in honoring God with our finances. And obviously, it takes a lot to keep our organization, our church, our mission going. So if you can give to the church and to the mission here, we invite you to do so online at statestreet.tv, through our mobile app, or in the giving boxes out in the foyer. Also, if you'd like to talk about your next step in the faith, we'd love to do that. If you'd like to talk about where you've been and where you're going, that's what we'd love to do. So reach out to us, and we'd love to talk to you. So this week and every week, go out in the love of the Father, in the peace of his Son, Jesus Christ, and in the movement of the Holy Spirit. You are dismissed. Peace be with you.
The sun comes up alone, like a funeral for my home, like a mirror for my soul. But I should have known better.